We are starting today. The first part was done, and we talked about the attributes of hearing in the first part. This is about balance or equilibrium today. Okay, a challenging discussion to understand, but we'll try our best, inshallah. The sense of equilibrium or balance. We all know that we have the ability to maintain balance in different postures and different positions of the body. You have experienced yourself since childhood when you have become conscious that we, in different positions, like in a static position when we are not moving, stationary position, can maintain balance in different ways. And when we are moving or doing different jobs, yet balance is there, we can maintain it. The movement may be a very simple movement, walking, okay? It could be a complex movement like you are playing something and immediately changing the positions moment by moment really, and that's a challenge for the body, and still we don't fall, we maintain the balance usually. Now how is this balance maintained? This is taken as a very special form, a mysterious sense, and sometimes it is regarded as the sixth sense. Okay, we have the five senses, okay, but this additional sense of maintaining the balance is known as sometimes the sixth sense of our body. Okay? It's not the sixth sense that you are aware of something in a very special way. We are talking about a sense of equilibrioception. Just like you have proprioception, you say the word, you have a sense, you call it equilibrioception. To maintain the equilibrium. Humans have immense abilities to do that really. And so do animals. Animals also have a great sense of equilibrium. And we share many characteristics with many animals in this equilibrium sense. Look at the objectives first of all. It's a single objective which is covering many aspects of equilibrium. We'll talk about the internal ear or the inner ear, and we'll see what is the role of inner ear or the labyrinth in the maintenance of equilibrium. Along with the inner ear, we'll talk about the other areas of our body which are contributing to the equilibrium. And the parts which are there, which are the neural parts or the non-neural parts of the body which are concerned with equilibrium. So let us see. Please be engaged in the discussion. It is very important. I'd like you to ask questions. If you don't understand anything, don't hesitate please, okay? Because this is not easy to understand. And this is not a very clear concept. So still a lot of research is going on and we are looking into the grey areas which we already know about. Orientation and balance pathways. Now how do we orient ourselves? When I am standing like this, I know the position of my head, I know the position of the rest of my body and arm, I have a picture complete. And in this picture, in this orientation, my sense of equilibrium is helping me. Okay? Because I am maintaining a specific position of equilibrium. What do you think about different areas of the body which are involved in the sense of equilibrium? Just keep thinking about the areas. What parts of the body are involved or are helping in equilibrium? So what do you say about that? Just keep thinking and answer the question. Anything which comes in mind? Vision, definitely, okay? We have an experience that with closed eyes, we can maintain equilibrium, but it is difficult sometimes and we often fall down or we often develop a mal-equilibrium. So the visual stimuli which are going into the eyes and stimulating the visual receptors, they contribute, the visual receptors contribute to the sense of equilibrium, especially if the other parts of equilibrium are disturbed or diseased, then your equilibrium is very well supported by the vision. Sometimes vision is the only source when the person has problem in other areas of the equilibrium. Okay, so yes, one is vision. What else? Proprioception, again. The sense of position is coming on from specialized receptors, position receptors, and those position receptors are helping us in maintaining equilibrium. Well, if you talk about the position receptors, well, there are many parts and there are many positions of those parts. Okay? Where specifically would you like to focus? Which areas are more important in equilibrium as proprioception areas or the proprioceptors? Cerebellum. Cerebellum is the neurological area or the organ. When you're saying proprioceptors, I'd like to know the location, makan of those proprioceptors, which areas of our body are lower limbs. Well, in the lower limbs, which areas would be more important? Feet. And which part of the feet would be most important? The soles of the feet, actually. The pads which are supporting, most of the time they're supporting. The full pad is supporting, sometimes our toes are supporting, sometimes the heels are supporting, sometimes one is supporting, but this surface, the lower surface, is a very important surface. It constantly gives us an information to our brain, to different parts of our nervous system about the status of the contact, how much area is in contact, how much area of the body is supporting in feet. This is one thing. True. Alright. Proprioceptors of other parts. Which other parts are also very important?
Joints.
Joints, okay. Yes, because joints have to maintain their position. If I am maintaining anti-gravity position like this in equilibrium, then my joints should be extended really, so that I can maintain. So the joint information is coming generally. And which joints are really important apart from the lower limb joints?
Hip.
Alright. The lower limb joints basically, you are saying. So hip is also a lower limb joint. Okay. What else? Muscles. Okay. Yes, muscles are definitely there. The proprioceptors in the muscles. Which muscles are we talking about? Anti-gravity is a good word really. That's a perfect word you have used. When you are saying anti-gravity muscles, what comes in your mind? Which is contributing to the gravity or contribute to the work against gravity? When you say against gravity. So in this position, what do you think? Okay. Yes. And? Okay. All right. And? Neck muscles, okay? You know, our neck is not like that. We don't maintain the position of the neck like that. That sometimes it is falling on one side or it's going in this direction just because of the weight of the neck. It doesn't happen. Head has a weight, neck has a weight, but it never falls down. This is virtue of these smart muscles really, which are keeping it erect and tight. So the neck proprioceptors are very, very important. So are the back muscles also, making you straight most of the time when you're attaining a straight posture, but still, okay, these neck muscles are keeping all the time. See, neck is, we most of the time, whether we are sitting or standing, our neck position is maintained in a very specific way. And that is perfectly done by the information which is going from these receptors. Okay, so the neck proprioceptors and the neck muscles are playing a very important role. All right. Which other areas? So you talked about the proprioceptors, you said eyes or the visual information. What else? Vestibular. Now coming into the internal side, some special areas, there is a very special device or a structure which is present in the inner ear, and you all are familiar with that structure, at least by name. If not in detail, you know something about it, that this part is definitely doing something in equilibrium, and we know it's the inner ear, right? It's not the external or the middle ear, it is the internal ear. And in the internal ear you say, no, it's not the cochlea, because we have done cochlea. We know that cochlea is not participating in the equilibrium. So it should be the other part which is undone, and this is the vestibule, okay? And this vestibular apparatus is a complex apparatus, one in each ear, right side and the left side. A bony labyrinth, inside that a membranous labyrinth, and a perfect structure which is generating information, sensory information, and that information is going to your central nervous system. If you're talking about your central nervous system, then what areas are you interested in? Cerebellum, okay, and the vestibular nuclei, a complex of the vestibular nuclei which are located, okay, yes. And then there are connections of these areas, cerebellum and vestibular nuclei, with the other parts of the brain also, okay, because it's an extensive connection. It's a perfect network of information which is maintaining the balance. Eventually the balance has to come from the muscles, the tightening of the muscles, so that you are maintaining the tone of the muscles and the posture of the body. Final information is going to that. Now look at the blocks here. Along with that, you will have an associated area which we already have discussed, that is also contributing to your equilibrium, which we started with, and that was the eyes. Okay, the information is also going into the eyes, so that eyes are managing really. Okay, see, do one thing. If you have, you see your hand and you see the movement of your hand. Okay, just fix your eyes and start moving your hand like this. Okay, do you see your fingers clearly? No, you will see the movement, okay, but you're not very clear about the finger, isn't it? But now fix your fingers and move your eyes here and there. Okay? Now fix your fingers and move your eyes here and there. Okay? You're moving your head in this way, turning your head, and you're trying to see your finger. Which one is better? The first one or the second one? Look at the beauty of the system. This is how the information is going, that when your head is turning, when the movements are there, still you can manage. You know, your eyes are moving in such a way that they try their maximum to keep the image on the retina, and it is not really very much blurred, very much disturbed, isn't it? So this is how the vestibular system is doing the job really, by sending the information. When we are turning the head, the information is going from the vestibular system, and eyes are being adjusted, so the output is coming from the eyes, eye movements. If the eyes are moving along with the head equally, then you will have the same feeling that you cannot see the things. But it doesn't happen really, isn't it? So, now look at the system. In the heart of the system, in the very center of the system, what do you see? Vestibular nucleus. So here in this area, the markers is the vestibular nucleus, where you receive many things from many areas, and from that you will send the final output going to different parts of the body. The two output stations which are final output areas, one area is for your eye control, okay, for equilibrium, and the second is your muscles. Through the spinal cord, your body is adjusting so that you don't fall down or you don't develop any problem in the equilibrium, isn't it? So eyes and your muscles, these are doing the job. Final common output is going through these areas. We'll see. Look at the inputs which are coming to the vestibular nuclei. There are some inputs coming, definitely. The same areas that we have discussed. If you have a look, this area, the vestibular nucleus, is so very well connected with different other parts of the nervous system. Can you see that in the picture? That the central area is receiving information from different parts. Well, it is receiving the information from different receptors of the body, from the sensory system. Receptors are from the vestibular apparatus. Receptors are from the proprioceptors and joint receptors which are there, which are sending the information. So the final plus minus integration is happening in the vestibular nuclei, and then they are sending the outputs, and these outputs are controlling muscles of the body. And yes, eyes are also controlled by the muscles. Basically, when you are moving the eyes, what are you controlling with? Muscles again. Okay, so the common word is muscles. These muscles, by changing their tone and by changing the process of contraction, relaxation, or their activity, are controlling different aspects of equilibrium. Alright. Somatic receptors, visual receptors, vestibular receptors, these are the different types of receptors which are giving sensory information from different areas, and it is coming. Cerebellum and the reticular nuclei are the areas of the brain which are helping the vestibular nuclei to finally analyze and to finally take a decision about what to do. Okay, so it's an integrated job. It's not a job of one thing. It's a job of whole system, a very complex system which is maintaining the equilibrium. So we have developed a map in our mind that okay, there are some areas in the body which are contributing to the equilibrium. Some areas are called the sensory areas, some areas are called the integration areas, and some areas are the areas where you see the output. Okay, so we have different names in our mind through this picture. Is the picture clear? And there is a great degree of compensation. If vestibular receptors are not working or diseased, then the other two systems, your somatic receptors and visual receptors, they take up the responsibility and they become more careful, and you maintain your equilibrium with these two receptors. Sometimes somatic receptors and vestibular receptors both are disturbed and diseased, and the only hope for the body to maintain the equilibrium is with open eyes and with vision. The person can still slowly maintain the equilibrium. He will not be as good as before, but definitely he is going to maintain some degree of equilibrium because still eyes are working. So one of the areas is still there. Okay. Now, very quickly talking about few familiar terms. I think you are already done with these in anatomy. Have you done it in anatomy? These areas? But we'll have a quick recheck. Alright? Now, you know about the vestibule and cochlea. Cochlea we have done because it was concerned with hearing, if you remember. Now we are doing the vestibule part. It's a very complex and strange structure, having three semicircular canals or a tube-like areas which are positioned right angle to each other in a very special way, and these canals are called the semicircular canals because they don't complete a whole circle, they are kind of semicircular, no circle is there. Okay. The second thing is that these canals are opening into dilated areas, and two areas are there. One is called utricle and other is called saccule. So utricle, saccule plus the semicircular canals, these areas are together making the labyrinth here. Okay, we are using the word, and this is your vestibular apparatus in general completely, which is describing the semicircular canals plus the two other structures, the two sac-like structures or the dilated structures. Have a look please. These are the canals. You can see three canals. If you have seen the canals, sorry for that. If you have, is it on? Okay. If you have seen the canals, these canals are very special. We'll see it in the picture right here. And we'll see that these tubes on one end are dilated, and that dilated portion is called the ampulla. Okay? So one ampulla is definitely present in each tube. You have a straight tube. On one end there is a swelling, and now you bend the tube like this in a semicircular way. So the ampulla will come at one end, and this ampullary portion is now opening into the utricle and saccule area, the utricle area. So one canal has one end, straight end, okay, non-dilated end, and the other end which is ampullary end or the swollen end. So if there are three canals, how many ampullae will be there? Three ampullae, okay. Well, the other end of the canal, the two canals will show a common, because two simple ends of the canal, they meet and they open as one into the utricle also. Now, this whole structure is a bony structure made up of a bone. And a similar structure, a membranous structure, is present inside, the same shape. And that membranous structure is filled with the same fluid which is module in the scala media of the cochlea. Do you remember the fluid which was there in the scala media? Endolymph, a very special fluid. And what is so special about that? What was so special about that? High potassium, really. The same identical fluid. You can see the dilated, and can you see the ampulla here? Can you see the ampulla here? Okay. And can you see the ampulla here? One ampulla of one canal, the other ampulla of the other canal. Alright? Do you see that? Okay. And the third canal is also coming. Three ampullae are there basically. And these three ampullary areas are opening into a dilated portion. This is utricle. Can you see that? And below the utricle you have another portion here, dilated portion, which is called the saccule. So this is the utricle part. Alright? And this is the saccule part. Connected with the cochlea. Do you see the connection? And from inside, the endolymph which is present inside here, this is also passing through the canal or ductus reunions is there, okay, and the endolymph is present inside also. So it means endolymph is present inside these canals, endolymph is present inside the dilated portions, endolymph is present inside the utricle and saccule because they are joining and they have common openings. So it means it's all filled with the same fluid. The same system is there. There is a membrane inside, and inside that membrane you have the fluid, and that's endolymph. Okay. So far we have got an orientation about this structure. Okay. You can see that finally the nerve bundles are running from this part, from the vestibular apparatus part. I'm not talking about the cochlea. From the cochlea you have the spiral ganglion and the cochlear nerve going. No, I'm talking about this area. Okay, the vestibular nerve and the afferents are going into a dilated portion, another ganglion. That ganglion has a different name. It's a vestibular ganglion. Now, this is not a cochlear ganglion. You will call it the vestibular ganglion. And again, it has a name. It is known as Scarpa's ganglion. Okay? You can call it vestibular ganglion if you don't remember the name. It's okay. Because you are thinking about the vestibular apparatus, you are thinking about the nerve which is arising from the vestibular ganglion. That is the vestibular nerve. Vestibular nerve combines with the cochlear nerve, and both components go into the medulla. The vestibular nerve will go into the vestibular nuclei. The cochlear nerve will go into the dorsal and ventral cochlear nuclei, if you remember. Okay. So right now our focus of interest is this area only. This is the part we are concerned for. This area only. All of these areas. Okay. So these tubes are very important. Now these tubes are very well oriented or positioned, and it is very interesting. Now the interesting part of discussion is beginning now. Okay. So far we are just getting an orientation or revision which you already know about. It is nothing special. You have done it in anatomy and in histology, I believe, isn't it? Okay. So going back in this way. Now, definitely these are the sense organs. Just like cochlea is a sense organ. Okay? We are doing anatomy because we are interested in where are the receptors present, because our focus is that the story will start from the receptors, and the receptors will send the information through the sensory nerve fibers to the ganglion and to the brain, and in this way. So we would like to know about the receptors, where are they located. We'd like to know about the receptors, how do they work, how are they stimulated. We'd like to know about the stimuli, what are the stimuli which are causing the stimulation of these receptors. This is our focus of interest today. So we'll see it one by one. Let us first of all identify the location of the receptors. Now it's a big thing. You've got the whole labyrinth, you have got a portion which is semicircular canals, you have got utricle and saccule. You see, multiple areas are there. Let us talk about these areas where are receptors present. Are receptors present everywhere or in a very special area? Definitely the receptors are condensed or Yes, located in one special area. They are not present throughout. Cochlea, if you remember, the receptors are present in all the turns of the cochlea over the basilar membrane. Okay? But in this case, you will not find the receptors in all the parts of semicircular canals and in all the areas of the utricle and saccule. No. There are specialized bodies or structures which are focused and they are put into this system. And we have to find out, we have to investigate really where are they settled or where are they located. Going back here, okay? Let us see. Give me the areas from your information, from your thinking. What do you say? We'd like to have that in which parts, where exactly, what should be the position of the receptors. Yeah, it's not one receptor, it's a multitude of receptors, thousands and thousands of receptors. They are concentrated or located in one body or one area. Now we have to locate that body inside that, okay? If you are doing so, what would you like to say about this area? Where? Okay? You know the tube systems, you know the swelling, you know the dilated big areas like utricle and saccule. Now what is your idea? What do you think? What you guess? Okay, look at the semicircular canal. Let us decide about the semicircular canals first. What do you say? No. Okay. None of these canals? No part of the semicircular canals? No. Okay. So what do you say about utricle? Yes or no? And what do you say about saccule?
Yes.
Okay. So you are saying nothing is there in the canals? Maybe because this central area, utricle is a big area, there must be something inside that. And the saccule is another big area and there should be something inside. Is that what you're saying? You're saying, yeah?
It's close to the nerve point.
Close to the nerve. See, nerve fibers are going into the system. Alright? These nerve bundles of nerve fibers are going into the system. And if you are saying, Ahmed, nerve fibers, now look at the diagram and look at the backward design of the diagram. Now you trace from the Scarpa's ganglion and you say where are the nerve fibers coming from? Go back. Okay? It's going into. Alright, you're saying, so look at this part. Here. Okay? Where is it going? This one. Okay. Maybe to the saccule or utricle. You can't say it for sure because it is not showing. It's the back side really, isn't it? What is it about this one? Semicircular canal. Okay? So it means if it is going to semicircular canal also, then you must find some area in the semicircular canal as well. What should be that area? Ampulla. Ampulla is a dilated. Why is the area dilated? Why is not like the rest of the canal? It's a modification. It means it is lodging, it is giving an area for something. So there is a body, a single body present in each ampulla. Okay? And that is the receptor organ which is modular in each of the ampulla. Okay? So in the semicircular canals, now what do you think? How many sense organs are present in? Three. Okay. What do you think about utricle? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, in the utricle also, because utricle is not a waste. Okay, it is a very important area. And one area is saccule. So it means how many sense organs altogether now? 5 areas. Okay, so you have to see the 5 areas. The areas now, let us see. Look at the ampulla. This is the ampulla, inside of an ampulla. Now look at the picture here. You can see that there is a pyramid-like thing, a conical thing or a cone-like thing which is present in the dilated portion or the ampulla, and from that you can see the nerve bundle is going from below, isn't it? It means the afferent fibers are going from below, Do you remember the hair cells which you did in the cochlea, which are the sense or the sensory hair cells, which are the receptors of hearing? Just like that, for equilibrium, there are receptors, and again these are the hair cells, taqriban similar hair cells, okay, having the hair. One hair is a very long hair, kinocilium, and the other are becoming smaller, and they are connected to each other, and they move together really, and their movement is causing same way, same mechanics, same ion is going inside, so it's not really different, okay. So it's